Hey everybody, welcome back to my spinner rack, the random comics for my spinner rack. I've been on doing a lot more episodes lately. I kind of try and front load them, for when I have to go away at times. So, brings back a lot of memories, and I hope I'd like to share them with you, and hopefully you've seen some of these books too. And if you have any opinions, comments, even if they're 180 degrees opposite of mine, comment below. I don't delete a single comment. Please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. YouTube actually likes that. The algorithm, it'll hit more people. And that's about it. So I'll get right to it. The Omega Men. Well, this was kind of a revelation at the time. This came out in 82 or 83. Let me see. Indonesia. Oh, April 83, which was one of my favorite years of comics. This was direct sales only, so there was no comics code needed. I love that. I love the little white areas there. It's these people from different planets, a bunch of misfits that are trying to take out these goofy blue meanies. And this was both praised and despised for its gore and violence. And these characters are simpletons. That the whole base, I mean, what do they call themselves? I don't know. I can't think of it. Anyway, it's a bunch of idiot barbarians, basically ruled by one guy who's articulate. And, they're eating someone already. Marv Wolfman and Joe Staton created the characters in an issue of Green Lantern like a year or so prior. Roger Slifer and Keith Giffen, they enhanced the backgrounds in this series. And at the same time, Giffen was doing Legion of Superheroes still. So Tygor can turn into more of a tiger shape than he is. But they're all... I'm not saying they're all survivors from their own planets. They're from different planets, but it's not quite like the original Guardians of the Galaxy. They just happen to represent different ones, which is kind of like a Legionnaires kind of thing. There's Brute, and he's basically a brute, but he's spelled like Groot. And bear in mind, Groot hadn't made an appearance in, 5 years in a Hulk annual, and he was never a serious character until the late 90s. So here they come. You see Tygor's wasting no time. It's just exciting stuff. But, I mean, this was really, for a lot of younger readers, this was really shocking stuff. I mean, Dark Knight was years away, and other stuff, it was just kind of... It was really edgy, and it showed the ugliness of war, even in science fiction type stuff. They go to Brute's home planet, and he's considered the shame of their race. They're a bunch of pacifists, and they basically put up with a lot. When these Dominator, they're called the Scions, I think. Yeah. They basically take an offering of a child, and he goes, but the cries are pain. And he goes, brazen creature, you don't believe in fighting, remember, coward? You see, Gordonian, you don't know, Brute is different. Different? How different? Very. And so he ends up being kind of, you can't come back. That's Brooke Shields, by the way. I don't know. They just wanted a photo op, I guess. And maybe she was in line to do some projects. Who knows? So, really, really good reading. Fun stuff. This is the opposite. This is pretty much the opposite. It is not a good Spider-Man story. It would be a decent story if it wasn't a double-sized annual. It needed to be like a single, it's more like a single indie issue that could feature this guy, because for some dumb reason, Amazing Spider-Man was its own thing, of course, but Peter Parker and Web of Spider-Man, the new book that replaced Marvel Team Up, somebody got in their head that, oh, we'll make Spidey like grounded and more like, you know, I guess Hill Street Blues was the thing back then, or, you know, make it like a cop show. I mean, that's a pretty cool. What's weird is there's no credits inside, but it's pretty much, I can guess it's pretty much the same creators as the previous year, because this says Ace 2, previous year was Ace 1, and it was just as, he didn't even need to be here. It was just as much a waste of paper. But at the time, I was a collector, so I had to get it. And then, but yeah, they wanted to make him more grounded. You know, Spider-Man, who's like one of the most exciting characters ever, really doesn't do much in his own book. And this isn't exclusive to this annual or the previous one. But, you know, hey, excuse me, Spider-Man, you around here somewhere? This is Mark Beckham on the art. He would later do some work with Continuity Studios on a book called Sam Marie. It was kind of a cheesecake samurai gal. But, I mean, this is, you know, wow, this is, hey, check this character out. Spider-Man, it's cool. Yeah, where is he? Where's he? Oh, there he is, sort of. It's just awful, you know. The art's decent. The story is decent. But it's maddening. And I was mad having to read this because it went on and on and on. It looks like, and the whole story has nothing to do with Peter Parker, nothing to do with Spider-Man. And this guy Ace doesn't say a lot of words, and I guess they had promises to make him an interesting character, but it never happened. Well, but he does have this one. I like that. I like the folds on the clothes. Mark Beckham is the artist, like I said. But he has one power that he can anticipate a move before you do it. So Spider-Man, of all people, even with Spider Sense and everything, he's having trouble with this guy. The guy just knocked out Firelord like a year prior. And also he has this little thing called webbing, and he's dodging them, but it's like they're just the little spurts he swings on. It's like, do a web net like you've done a billion times with purse snatchers and you hang them from a lamppost and say compliments to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's like, it's like they just, I don't know. It's just dreadful. It's an okay story, but it's not a Spider-Man story. Not a Spider-Man story. He doesn't even merit the end of his own book. So that's kind of crap. Now, The Shadow, a nice Joe Kubert cover. I don't know of a lot of Joe Kubert Shadow covers. First few issues is issue 9. First few 4 or 5 issues were done by Mike Kaluta, who was just amazing, and he was one of the new guys who came along with Barry Windsor Smith and Jeff Jones and a whole bunch of other like really strong new guys that weren't necessarily monthly artists, but it took them a while to figure that out. And he had a very he has a beautiful ornate style, and this fill-in, not a fill-in, every issue is pretty much a single issue, which is great because he's a pulp character. He shouldn't have continued stories really. It's by Frank Robbins, script by Michael Uslan, who is the guy who had the sense in the early 80s to get the movie rights to Batman. And Batman was not seen as a viable movie because at that time, Superman 3 came out, which was just dreck. It was awful. And superheroes, they didn't want to put money into it. You know, it was kind of like, oh, it was just a little thing really quick. But Uslan, he got it when Batman 89 came along. You know, then his investment paid off. Frank Robbins, who is he is very much in the school of Milton Caniff, you know, like the Terry and the Pirates and the old artists and stuff like. In fact, Frank Robbins did some of those kind of strips like that, and Frank McLaughlin is a real treat here because I've only known him as inking Captain America or over Sal Buscema, and he also created Judo Master that I showed in a previous episode. This lettering has to be Robbins because anywhere I see Robbins stuff. It has that kind of quirky, he does quirky sound effects and everything. And but Frank McLaughlin on him is a really interesting pairing. I think it works pretty neat. See, that's where the classic newspaper strip visuals are. And it's great. And the thing is, this book, it's wild that Kaluta is this new hotshot with a clear, shiny style, and then you get an old school guy who has this rugged style. They're polar opposites, but it was brilliant because, in my opinion, they both were equally legit. So much going on, the folds and the clothes. And the shame is, he got a lot of crap for doing superhero stuff that really did not match his style. But unfortunately, at that time in the mid 70s, there wasn't a lot of options out there. And even Marvel's even more, he did Morbius for Marvel, and they wanted it to be like a superhero version because he wasn't a true vampire. He was a synthetic vampire or some crap like that, self-made vampire. But anyway, I'm going off track. So great stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now here's a curiosity, you're saying. The Abomination. I got to get anything with the Abomination. He's just the best. Such a great visual, created by Gil Kane and Stan Lee. And I love those like big old bat ears he's got, and that lumpy old head. And Yellowjacket, the female version, it was very briefly, I don't know how long she stayed around before, I don't know. I kind of wish she stayed Yellowjacket because, let's face it, Henry Pym has plenty of identities to give up and throw around, but this is the villainous one who joined the Masters of Evil, and actually, she showed up a few issues prior to that story where they stormed Avengers Mansion and tortured Jarvis. Well, Tom DeFalco's plotting it. Ralph Macchio's script. I love Ralph's writing. He's been like a big, I don't know what he is, some kind of executive type guy at Marvel, like a huge overall editor. And but anytime he gets a chance to script, it's always good. Ron Lim, he's a new hot guy in the scene. This is 1988. Jose Marzan starting off right there. And Ron Lim did a bunch of indie books, like for Innovation Comics. He did some for First Comics, and you just knew he was going to graduate to one of the big two. And but Marvel kept. He was also fast. It's like he had appealing style and he was fast. Okay, here's the reason I brought this out. A very young Amanda Conner, penciler, and an old master, Stan Drake, who did newspaper strips, like adventure strips, back around the time Frank Robbins pretty much was. And it's interesting because she's really new, and yet she's really got an idea how to tell a story. That's what I think is great. And also, she, being a woman, she kind of knows how a posture she would have opposed to his. And I love this. He rescues her, and he thinks, okay, he's entitled to like get romantic with her. And the acting on those three center panels there are just wonderful. The middle one, she's like, and then she's like, get away from me, you creep. So he's like, you ain't great. I won't let her get away with this. So she decides to pay the Wasp back for their last battle. Actually, I don't think she was ever the Masters of Evil. I think it was just a few issues prior to that storyline. So she comes out. I like her hair too. I like the short hair. It's a great image. Well, here comes Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, who I've never been a fan of. I've always thought he was dry as toast. It's wonderful stuff that Amanda's doing. What a jerk, that little goody two-shoes. How could she let a hunk like that get away? So she's looking at it from a tree, and she's got these little hearts around her. Ah! You ungrateful wench. But thankfully, the ebony sword that Dan Whitman carries around with him 24/7. That's a beautiful panel there. I love that angle. So yeah, Amanda already had the goods. I mean, it was only I don't know, like a decade later, that she built up a reputation as being a really great artist. I love that sock. That's really cute there. Nice little piece of teamwork. Maybe we get together for a drink sometime. I'd love to stick around, but the cops are going to be showing up soon now. I'm a wanted woman. Catch you up sometime. Yes, you do that. Unfortunately, that was never followed up on because I thought that was really enjoyable. Okay, here we go. Here's some of my love. Okay. Back cover by Mark Wheatley, who did Mars, which was a book, a short-lived book at First Comics, but it was great. It was just too different to sell a lot of copies. It was just very unique. You're like, this is a really awkward. No. This is Tony Salmons or Salmons, however you say his name, and just like a lot of guys like Mazzucchelli, he just had a very non-house style. And Al Milgrom even makes a point of it in his little editorial. And it's weird. It's like his spotting of blacks, and then he like lets that, you know, the what is it, the Gridiron Building? I can't remember. He lets that fall into like dead lines, so dead flat lines. And Bill Mantlo writes this, so I love anything Bill Mantlo writes. And how about that for a pose? That's just stunning. And it's called Cars. I guess he's doing the coloring. Oh no, Glennis Wan. I always love her stuff. So it turns out Foggy Nelson wants to buy a fancy car for the, you know, for their business, and he's like, no. It's like, don't we have enough cars out there? Honk, honk, honk. So he's determined to go out there, and he's all excited. And Matt's still kind of like annoyed, but he knows that they could use it to serve their, instead of having to take taxis and stuff like that. I mean, basically, Matt gets talked into it. And so anyway, this one guy, he was a gang member, but Matt Murdock proved he was innocent, and basically cleaned up his ways. Nice color holds there. It's just like you don't see, these are poses you just don't see anywhere. I mean, you might say, it's ugly, it's crap. That's okay. You know, you don't have to like everything I like. He sneaks into the office and he steps on something. He's like, plastic feels like one of Foggy's models. Cars. Because he was playing, he had a bunch of them earlier in the issue. Well, what happens is the new car got stolen. So Matt's kind of like, that car meant a lot to Foggy. Status, convenience, and mode of transportation for his vacation. Besides, it was my car too. And Daredevil comes in, and he goes riding in the back. That's a funny thing, though. I mean, with motorcycles and stuff and guns going off, I think someone should somehow explain how Daredevil could like tune out those noises. Frank Miller did a good job of it when he was trying to find these two guys kidnapped by Bullseye in Daredevil 169, where he sat on the roof in like a lotus position, and he tuned out all the street noise to hear the cough of one of the kidnapped guys. But still, I would imagine his mask, which covers his ears, should have some buffer on it. So, I mean, he could still hear clear as, you know, a bell when people are talking, but also take out some of that high-pitched noise that can really, it's beautiful. You may hate this style, and that's okay, you know. It's not for everybody. Now this, that is some great cartooning there. I can't remember what that's called. There's a term for that. So, yeah, Matt's just trying to save the car, and for Foggy's sake, he's slipping all over. It's just a big cluster. Well, no, it goes to a car wash. This is my favorite part. Scalding Steve! Full by double. That alone is worth the price of admission, I'll tell you. He's like, enough! So, the car's like messed up. And so what he did is, he's like, Well, it's insured. We won't lose a penny, and the insurance company will provide Debbie and me with a rental car for the trip. But you know, something I'm not so keen on driving anymore. I'm glad to hear that, because here are plane tickets for your vacation. It's safer. Here it is. Marvel Fanfare has these special pinups. Bob McLeod, for years I called him McLeod, but it's McLeod. He co-created the New Mutants, like the whole look. He and Chris Claremont painstakingly planned out the individual characters and their powers, and just every little thing. Look at the sincerity of the lines on the eagle. How it's just beautiful. It doesn't look contrived, and doing this kind of stuff is hard. Trying to get a better shot of that. So yeah, he designed. There's Cannonball. These are all Bob's creations, and that is Colossus's younger sister. And there's Sunspot, another great character. That's a great way. So here we go. Mark Hempel, the guy I told you he did a lot of indie work, but he hadn't really done much Marvel work. And it's sort of it's kind of cool. I mean, I hate to say Darwin Cook, because that sounds, it has an animated feel to it in a fun way, you know. And it reminds me a little bit of Darwin Cook, a little bit of some other guys I can't think of. All Red, you know, those. It was just unique. Spidey's basically bored. He can't do anything. He's actually looking for something to do, and he thinks he sees Doc Ock. It's a woman with a fetish for wrappings around her neck. He goes, just me. I'm Spider-Man. I'm a lunatic. I'm a menace to society. Don't you read the Bugle? What kind of cop are you anyway? You okay, guy? If you had a few, I could drive you home. No thanks, I appreciate the offer. And he's so bored. I gotta tell you the end of it. You gotta buy it, cause it's cool, it's fun, and it's affordable. That's the best. I hope you like these books. Please leave comments below. And oh, by the way, real quick, I also do commissions. These are like some quick printouts. This was me inking Sheldon Go a few years ago. Super detailed. It's not the tightest printout though. I do cover recreations, Captain Atom, and sorry for this. I literally sat on these as I was getting them. I thought either I could print them out and wait. So this is one that I penciled and inked. Had a lot of fun. I was trying to do like a Barry Windsor Smith sort of rendering. And here's another one I liked. Some guy asked me, a fellow Bronze Age enthusiast, said, hey, I want a commission of Stingray versus the Shroud. And I'm like, you know what? You almost don't have to pay me for it, but but I will, of course. And I used some dry brush on that. So hey, if you you can leave messages below or hit me up on Twitter. I'm called Yes That Drew Geraci on Twitter, and I'm also on Facebook. I'm trying to get on more platforms, but I just, I'm terrible at promoting myself. I've done like 100 of these episodes, and this is the first time I ever mentioned I do commissions too. And I, different sizes and everything, we can discuss prices and such. And that's all, blah, blah, blah. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the new subscribers and the old ones too.